your dissertation's got a lot of sections as well as your proposal. Okay, so one of the areas that we are going to touch is literature review, which is taking the most of the word count out of your dissertation. Generally speaking, this one, because you know that your proposal, you're required to do about like 1,500 to 2,000 words, right? And then your main dissertation, you're going to do about 15,000 words. Now, if you go by the chapters, the main chapters, you have introduction, and then you have literature review, methodology, finding and analysis, and conclusion. So these are the main chapters of a dissertation, isn't it? You will get to know these chapters later on, alright? So for the knowledge sake, you need to have a little idea that there are basically 5 chapters. Even in your literature, even in your proposal, you will have these 5 chapters, okay? Now the issue comes is that when you have these 5 chapters, you have to write 15,000 words. So out of that 15,000 words, you have to allocate the words into these chapters. Now, when you're going to allocate the words to these different chapters, you can't write 10,000 word introduction, can you? No, you can't do that. If you do that, it will be fair, right? So, and then you can't write, I'm supervising a student these days, a young student, about 25 something, and he's doing his dissertation. He already started. That he joined the course last time, so he's already in the system now. And so I kind of supervised him. And when I saw his work, and I found that he wrote a methodology. You know, methodology is not chapter 3 usually. He wrote a methodology of 12,000 words. That is good for a PhD, not an MBA. So it's not really required to write that many. But there is a section that you can write more, and that's the section that you need to actually focus on. Now, an introduction, at the introduction section you have the introduction and background, and then of course you have the problem definition, which we discussed last class. And then usually problem definition, you don't need to write so much. Again, you're talking about maximum writing it in about less than half a page, about a quarter of a page, little more than a quarter of a page, say a third of a page. That's the problem definition. And then you need to write your research objectives. Okay, so those are the things coming in chapter 1, introduction, problem definition, and then the research objectives. And chapter 2, so usually chapter 1 can go for about 1,000 words, no more than that. Okay, so out of 15,000, about 1,000 words. And then when you're talking about methodology section, you still don't have to write so much in methodology. So you're talking about maximum writing about 1,500 to 2,000 words. And conclusion, you can't write a huge, long conclusions. Usually a conclusion is a summary of the whole thing. So we are looking at about maybe a page or page and a half conclusion. So we are still looking at about maybe 100,000 words. Now then you have finding and analysis. Largely depends on what you find. And finding and analysis is the section where you come up with descriptions, analysis, and all sort of things. So that can go roughly about another 3,000, 4,000 words. So when you go like 1,000 words for the introduction, about 3,000 for the finding and analysis, and about 1,500 words for the conclusion. So you're talking about you're left with about another 10,000 words around. So that's the word count that we need to put for literature review. So literature review is the place where you can write as much as you like, and you really need to write a lot. Because you know that you need to do a lot of reading. You need to do about at least, as I said, 50 references. So literature review is the section where you get most of your work out. Okay, and this section is so important that this is the section where um, you get highest marks, because in a dissertation you have the university, I mean the markers, they allocate certain marks, right? They will not tell you, okay, introduction I'll give you this much, that, but generally every marker's mindset, they have an idea, okay, how they are going to mark, how they are going to approach your work to mark. So generally this particular section carries the highest marks, I mean highest individual marks. It's about 40% out of 100 goes for this section. So 60% goes to all the other rest of the sections, like introduction, analysis, finding and analysis. They go for that. So this is the component that this section that contains the highest marks. So because of that, I think it's very important that you pay a lot of attention. So what is literature review? Now, literature review is no magic. I mean, it sounds like, the word literature sounds so big, right? When it's like a very academic big word, but generally it is not the case. Literature review means that when you're writing your work, when you're writing your dissertation, there are certain points that you come up with as your ideas, but then you need to find somebody to support your ideas. Okay? So how do you support your ideas? You support the ideas by finding articles that can help to support your viewpoints. And then every time when you support somebody's things to support yourself, you have to give proper referencing based on Harvard referencing. The guide to Harvard referencing, I think, has been given last time, so please have a look at it. You're not going to cover that area. Okay? And when you go into the BME platform, in that platform you see this Harvard referencing guides and things like that as well. So there are more practices that you can do. Now the thing is that, and in some cases, when you now for example, your dissertation is about maybe property market fluctuations in Hong Kong in the recent past, maybe your research, for example. So you probably need to access these articles and things like that written by industrial experts. Say, for example, maybe Li Ka-shing wrote an article in South China Morning Post talking about this, or Sun Kai, property, some expert working in that area, giving us a brief analysis about the market fluctuation and why it has happened and all the kind of technical analysis. So these things would be of great use for you. And maybe when you're talking about property market fluctuations, maybe your arguments are about investor confidence. So you may have you may be able to find some certain theories that discussing investor behavior, investor confidence, and related things. So all these things are going to be your resources. So basically, you have to have these resources. Okay? They are in everywhere, and then you have to have these resources, and then you have to use those resources and combine together and put your case. So basically, a dissertation in somewhat is a presentation of your own thoughts and your own thinking by using the help of other people's writing. Okay? That means other people's writing is the area that you're talking about. If you're going to write, now that's the biggest difference. I think you know that you all went to primary school, secondary school long time ago, and some of you maybe not so long ago. So you all wrote essays, you all wrote things, right? Like in primary school, myself, my pet, my cat, you write this kind of essays. Now, dissertation and the essay, basically they are the same. That means you're writing based on a topic. But in this case, you are the one to create the topic. Yes, you don't really have to work for somebody else. But the biggest, there are a lot of similarities between your assignment writing or the essay writing that you've done in primary and secondary school with the dissertation that you're going to do. Now, the only biggest difference in that and primary school stuff and this MBA stuff is that you have a section called literature review. See, in this section, when you're writing your primary school essays, you don't really have to read somebody else's work and incorporate that to your to your essay, right? But now when you're in university level, that is what you can do. And I'm sure some of you have probably done your bachelor degrees, right? You've done your bachelor degrees, you probably have to do assignments, coursework. And in those coursework also, you probably would have come across this literature review section. Okay? So it's a very important area. Right, so these are the sources we have. Primary source, secondary source, and tertiary source. Primary source of literature comes from reports, company reports, conference, meetings, theses, that means some other ex-students' work. When you go to your BNU website, you could have seen the past student theses as well. Now, actually, at the moment, you don't have the access to BNU because you are still not part of BNU yet, because you are on the way to the program, right? Now, there are a lot of universities in Hong Kong. I know Hong Kong that means University of Hong Kong. If you go to their website, I really can't find where it is now, but it should be still available. You can search some of the past students' theses. They put it in a PDF format. So you can read these things to get some ideas, if you like. Okay? Now this is something that you need to search by yourself. Okay? And now don't think that, oh, you just got, you didn't give me where's the address, web address. No, I'm not going to spoon feed you. Okay? Please. So when you're going to do dissertation, you have to do a lot of independent work. You have to do a lot of things independently. There are a lot of things you need to go and find yourself. Research is all about search independently. Apply that. But as a facilitator, I can give you tips where you can look for those things. Okay? So there are most of these universities, they have this piece of work that you could see. Okay? And the government publications, you don't really have to look for anywhere. You can go to this all these government websites, and then they have this publication. Now, before doing all these things, what you need to be doing is that you need to know in which area, in which way you are going to write your dissertation thesis. So it all comes to one word: what's going to be your topic. So once you are aware of your topic, once you know what kind of thing you are going to write, and then you can look for articles and other resources that can help you to upgrade your knowledge in that area. So the first thing is that you really need to, it's time that, because so by the end of next month, it's tomorrow is next month already, right? So by the end of next month, you will be starting your course. So I mean, you become university students part of the course. So I think it's very important that you have idea about what you're going to do, because if I'm not mistaken, you'll be completing your registration process probably by mid of April, and then you will get the deadline to submit your first work. I think maybe mid of June. 5 weeks, you usually get about 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks. So, and that's the proposal stage. So you really need to know it now. That's the reason why, you guys are the second or third batch here. So I found that the reason why we are facilitating this additional thing, this session, is because sometimes you may not have enough time submit your proposal in 5 to 6 weeks, so you need to start early. Right, so government publications is one of the things, and then secondary sources, books, journals, newspapers, periodicals, magazines, and this particular things, they're coming in quite a lot of different versions. Now, when I was doing my MBA, we had only books and newspapers, all these things. but mostly hard copies, no electronic copies. So nowadays you get a lot of journals, they are coming with electronic format. Now when you're going to start your dissertation with the university, you will get the access to online journal databases such as ProQuest, Emerald, Qualloc, and they got like millions of online applications inside. So you can use them for your work. I'm talking about when you're submitting a proposal to the university. But before submitting the proposal to the university, you are going to submit a proposal for me as well. So that can help you to avoid a lot of issues. So at the moment, what you can still access these things through. There are a lot of free sources which I'll give you a list there. It's actually there's a slide that contains the list which we are going to touch later. And tertiary resources are abstract, dictionaries, bibliographies. These are again you can access through unpaid research through internet, which I'll get back to you later on. Okay, so the purpose of the literature review, mostly the biggest purpose of the literature review is mostly about for you to demonstrate your knowledge. Now, if you're going to write a topic, you're not going to write a topic like a primary school student or a secondary school student that you have passed that age a long time back. So when at the university stage, you need to demonstrate that you have read enough in this area and you have the knowledge in this area. You have to convince the reader that this is my topic and